Hello, this is Fiddle Club Wednesday, March, what month is it? May 1st. It's the May meeting, and I thought I had already pulled out this folder, and now I don't know where I set it. Pay no attention, I'm getting organized. Can you hear and can you see? That's always the big question. Answer it in chat and tell me if you see and hear. And I'm going to type the same question into the chat. So find out, and I will figure out where I just put my tune notes. Here they are. Okay, anybody there? Can you hear me? Can you see? Let me know via the chat. Okay, I think the answer is yes. Okay, Connie can see in here and Andy can see in here. That's great. All right, well, let's get started. So I decided to pick some tunes from the Athol collection. We have spent some time with the Athol collection before, and we'll do it again because that collection has close to 900 tunes in it. And it's also a collection that has just had a lot of endurance. A lot of people still play tunes from the Athol collection, and it's just a great resource. It's organized into tunes by key. So say you want to know a good reel in the key of C or the key of D, it has a section for that. There's one downfall of the Athol collection, which is that more than 90% of it is Strats, bays, and reels. So if you're looking for a jig, you're pretty much out of luck. There's about 20 jigs in the whole book out of 900 tunes. And similarly, there's only about, I think, 25 hornpipes, and then there's a little section of country dances, which includes a few reels that are more of like the marchy Scots measure type of thing, and some more jigs. So really, this is a collection of some of the best Strats, bays, and reels, and that's what we're looking for when we go into the Athol collection. So, but if you're looking for a Strats, bay, or reel, it's great. It's perfect. It was published in 1884, and so I think we have another live musician. So we are having from Pete Walker's house, as you can tell from the bagpipes on the wall behind us, that we're at Pete's, and we have a hybrid session with some live workshop takers and all of you who are online. So excellent. So Athol collection, published in 1884, currently out of print but much reproduced. So it's kind of easy to find some reproduction version of Athol collection out in the world, and the tunes are in circulation. In addition, we featured Athol collection tunes in Fiddle Club explicitly about 4 or 5 times, and many of our tunes for various categories come from Athol collection. All right, so let's check that we're in tune. I just tuned a moment before going live, so this should be okay. It's called a huachach, which is just Gaelic for the cuckoo. And it's in the key of D. Okay, how's that? I'll make sure that you all can see my left hand fingering a little better. Hi, do you want to be standing up or sitting?
Both.
Both, okay. All right, good. We've got live people here, it's so much fun. You get to actually play to live people. Are you in tune or do you need to tune too?
Let's see.
So go ahead and take a moment to tune. So this tune, the cuckoo, I don't know a whole lot about it, other than I would say that it has a lot of characteristics that make it sound like one of those mouth music reels. The range is not like this ridiculous jumps that are hard to sing. It kind of moves linearly up and down the scale, and that's easier to sing. So my guess is that there's some kind of mouth music song to this that you could dance to if it were sung, but I don't know it. The Athol collection does have some of these Gaelic tunes in it. It's not just sort of your standard dance music. It has a little bit of a Highland bent. And that's not a big surprise. The guy who put it together, James Stewart Robertson, was president of the Highland Society of Scotland at the time, in the 1880s when he put this together. All right, so let's learn. Pickup note is E. So find that E. And then we're going to make a lot of use of a gap scale. So let's go ahead and find our gap scale. Let's climb up from the note A. B. Skip a note. And skip a note. So those are our gaps in this tune. And that's also the range. However, we're centered around the note D. But when you're going up and down scale passages in this tune, you're going to be leaving out any C or C sharp and any G or G sharp. Just not present.
And then the second finger.
Right. So on the fiddle, if you're playing a fiddle, open strings, first finger, third finger. I kind of like those sort of tunes. It takes a lot of the guesswork out, right? Should I play the second finger? No, just don't. Don't even think about it. So down the scale, we have our pickup note of E, and then from F sharp down the gap scale. Yeah, just like that. So and adding to that, so again, gap scale work. So let's put that first measure together. I'm going to leave the pickup note off this time. This is an important measure to know because it's like the theme measure for the A part of the tune. All right, so that is our statement phrase in the first half of the tune. The answering phrase is this. question here in the chat from Connie, who says she has the wrong music up to page 29. And pages 26 through 29 were last month's music in April. This month's music is pages 30 through 32.
And it went up this morning.
It went up this morning, so we apologize for putting it up late.
You can follow the meeting music link that should be in the description, if there is a description.
I will just say that there is an email that went out this morning to Fiddle Club members about mid-morning, and there's a link in it to the music. Also, if you go to the main page, I believe you have a link for the music on the main page.
And if you're watching on YouTube, if you click the description and expand it out, because you only see like the first line of the description. If you expand out the description, the first link in the description will be also the link to the
Okay, so there are 3 ways you can get the music. Through the YouTube description, and click the link there, and expand the description to find that link. The email that you may have received, and the Potomac Valley Scottish Fiddle Club website, potomacvalleyscottishfiddle.org, with a link directly to the music.
Or you can go to potomacvalleyscottishfiddle.org/meeting-music, all one word, and that will also take you straight to it.
Okay, did everybody hear that? potomacvalleyscottishfiddle.org/meeting-music.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, or you can just learn it by ear, because
That's
this
the point of
is
this
the ear tune. And worry about your sheet music a little later. All right, let's go back to the theme that we had. What I just said was the theme for a part of this tune, the cuckoo, is broken scale, right? Gap scale. There we go. Which I have not yet properly taught. It's repeated notes on E, so it's really focused on the note E. Try it again. And a few more times. So here we are putting the 2 phrases together. The sort of signature phrase of the A part with the gap scale, and then the answering phrase that focuses around E. You want to listen the first time? Okay. Of course, those of you on video, you can play along and I won't even know, right? Going. All right. The second phrase of the A part, same, signature phrase, different answering phrase. So our third measure, exactly the same as the first with the gap scale. And the new answer is just a little scale up from D and back down. So let's play that answer. that's the entire A part. It's only 4 bars long, and 2 of them are the same. So, pretty handy. Let's put it together. What was the pickup note?
E.
E. Yes. Times and build up the speed, but I want to add just a little bit of extra for people who already have the notes. So one of the things you want to do is not just make it a string of, equal notes. So I'm just applying a little pattern of accenting the second note in a group of 4. It's just one way I can change this slightly, but do that regularly. You're going to spice this up just a little bit so that it's not just a string of notes, but more like a dance tune. Speed yet, but you can hear how adding that accent in actually, even at this slower tempo, makes it feel more punctuated for dancing. So I just wanted to add that in before we got too far along. We're ready to move on to the B part because that A part was short. Just 4 bars, repeat. I love these efficient tunes. So we have a new theme to learn for the second part. The pickup note is now F sharp. We ended on a D, right? Ended the phrase on a D. And we're going to be going up high to the A note. So the pickup note, F sharp, gets us from D. Right? That's where we're headed. So pickup note of F sharp, just locate that. Now we have a stair step kind of figure where we're going down by skipping notes in our gapped scale. This makes it seem on paper, it does not look like your classic gap scale of a stair step scale of. That's what I mean by the stair steps. However, if you consider this a gap scale and the G is not there, that's exactly what is happening. We're skipping the next note of the gap scale of F sharp and going directly to E. So it's that interval. And then the next note up the gap scale. And then skip down 1, and that gives us where we're headed for this, okay? the first part of our new theme for the second half of the tune. The rest of the bar is open strings if you're playing a fiddle. E, A. With a B transition note, so it's so here's our new theme bar. Gap scale stair step. Open. Transition. What? We're matching that up with the same answers. So, yep, you guessed it. Right. So the second bar is still. So let's see if we can fill this in. Let's not go fast, but let's try playing the entire B part where we just fill in with the answering phrase of the same theme. And the second answering phrase. So let's just try putting it together. Accents in, right? Do you need more practice on this second half? Let's put the tune together. Do you remember the first theme? And that's the only thing new that's different from the A part to the B part. All right, let's try it. Next part. Was it starting to get a little out of hand? Or mostly there?
I was
Up a little bit more.
playing the B part often during the A part.
Yes,
Yes.
and in a tune like this with that gap scale, it just comes across as harmony, however rather messy harmony. so it's kind of like wind chimes. They're often tuned in these gap scales, so they never actually clash with each other, but they don't necessarily sound like great harmony all the time either. I'm not recommending that you insert random notes. But I am saying that you can kind of get away with it. So that is the cuckoo, and I guess I should type in the title into the chat. So I'm going to write the Gallic word for it, and hopefully it doesn't like autocorrect the spelling. And then English, the cuckoo. And I don't know, you tell me, did you hear any cuckoo bird tweeting in this tune? Maybe?
I think we need to do with the ornaments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be the cuckoo right there, right? Maybe. I wrote a tune with a cuckoo in it, and mine was much more obvious.
There's a slow air too.
This is what?
There's a slow air also.
Yes, there is also a slow air cuckoo. In fact, there's a slow tune about a cuckoo that we did in Fiddle Club probably about 5 or 6 years ago.
And have we ever done Kochad Ben Kriv?
No, this was Kochak Nam Biaon.
Okay, yeah, we did that one. Kochad Ben Kriv is the tune that Sky Boat Song is patterned after.
Mm-hmm. See, there are lots of cuckoo tunes. You could argue that we're all cuckoo, but you know. Anyway, let's. No argument, right? Yeah. Why am I doing this? Okay. So
Maybe a few islands too.
let's do another one. You're up for another one by ear, I presume.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
I'm gonna use
I
the
know
sand.
another one.
Enthusiastic, yes. Okay.
We can't have people in person unless we're going
All
to
right.
speak up.
Now, I did warn you. This month's music is basically all Strathspeys and reels, right? Because we are dealing with the Athol collection. It's 90% Strathspeys and reels, and to be honest, if it was a good jig or hornpipe in the Athol collection, I have already put it in Fiddle Club. In one of those previous, 4 or 5 times we featured Athol collection. So
we should learn the Strathspey.
would you like to learn a Strathspey?
Sure.
Why, sure. Okay, that's a great answer. Would you like one in A minor or one in E minor?
E minor.
E minor.
minor. All right. Okay, and people in the chat, you can chime in too, although you're not quite as
5 seconds
quick
away.
to answer, right? I'll see it after I've
I'll type
already.
it real quickly.
Yeah, right. So, excuse me. Oh dear.
Could you run over exactly what the E minor scale is?
Yes. Why not? Let's review this E minor scale.
Which are we looking at? An honest E minor? Or are we looking at an E Dorian?
So this one is an E Dorian because it has an E. Yeah, it doesn't have an E sharp. It has an F sharp and a C sharp, right? It's like a D scale, except we start on the note E and center it that way. Okay, so that's the scale we're working in. And does that get you
Helps.
oriented and comfortable?
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so this tune is called The Rover. There are other Rover tunes. There's one called The Rover's Return, which is a totally different tune. We've learned that one in Fiddle Club. I thought after seeing all these Rover tunes, and of course there's the Irish Rover and
The Wild Rover.
the Wild Rover, and I thought it would be good for somebody to write a tune called The Mars Rover. So maybe I'll do that sometime. Anyway, here is the Rover Strathspey. hanging, and you must play something else in E minor following it, right?
Mhm.
Because it's just
Or
not
something
over.
that starts on.
Yeah, right. So it's not over. It's rover, but not over. All right. Let's learn it. The pickup note is a B. And one thing I will say is I think this tune is quite flexible as to what style of dance tune you want to make it. You could dance a Highland Fling to this and just make it. That would make it good. It would make a good Scottish country dance tune. It would make a good Cape Breton step dance tune.
Can you northeast it?
Probably not. Yeah, I don't see it as being very northeast. But the
See, that's the challenge, though.
well, the truth is that most of the Athol collection
It's
is
hard.
not a very northeast oriented
No.
collection. The guy who made it, president of the Highland Society. What is his choice of tunes going to be? Mostly Highland? Why, sure. Right? So even though at that time there were some really brilliant music coming out of the northeast of Scotland, James Stewart Robertson pretty much ignored it. So there's not much by Peter Milne or J. Scott Skinner, even though they were contemporary with this collection. So back to the rover, right? B note pickup, and we're focused around E minor, so we're going to hit that with a snap right away. And that's an F sharp that's going down. Not an arpeggio there. Right, that's sounding good. All right. The second bar, same figure to start with, but then hit a D note and snap. If you're playing violin and you're using a bow, it makes sense to slur that snap, but you don't want it to sound mushy. So make sure you put a little bit of zing into it. You don't want it to sound, sort of this little soupy thing. Now, if you're not playing a violin, that's irrelevant, but do make it sound nice and snappy. All right, so first measure and second measure put together. Yeah. Third measure starts the same way, and then it climbs up. And the ending, just find that, and snap down here. Last bar together is this. And the third and fourth measures put together. Listen first. Climb up. Everybody. So we really have a little bit of a trickery here going on here because each of these measures starts the same way, and it's the note right after that, the second beat of the bar, or the third beat if you're doing 4 beats in a bar, that tells you which bar you're on and where you're going. So we have the first time, hits that E. Second time, hits a D, so you snap. Third time, G, so you climb. And then round it. So let's all play. Okay, how's that working? Sounding pretty good. How's it sounding out there? Okay, let's assume it's fine, and you can also replay the video if you want to work on anything that has already gone by. And I think most of you who are used to Fiddle Club by YouTube have already figured out that trick. We certainly see a number of people replaying sections, so that's cool. All right, second half of the tune, we're moving up high. We worked all in that range for the first half. Second half, we're pretty much, we only have half of an E scale here, right? But we're gonna spend most of our time working it up there. All right, pickup note F sharp. And you gotta find that fourth finger B note. If you're playing a different tune, a different instrument, of course, it might not be your fourth finger, but reach for it, make sure it's in tune. So our figure is so you can see that after you release that high B note, you're gonna be coming back to it a bunch of times. So don't lose sight of where it belongs. Before we get too deep into this, I want to give you some style options. Because I've just given it to you with just one note per bow for playing fiddle. If you're playing in a more Cape Breton style, you're going to sort of compress the 4 16 notes in that 16 note run towards the head of the beat, towards the early side of the beat. And then leave a gap so you're not rushing. It's not fair to compress the notes and then move on. You have to leave the space if you compress them. You hear how that gap takes care of the, compensates for that push forward that I did at the beginning. So that's one way to handle those 16th notes if you're playing in that style. You want to try that? And I often just take to the air. And there I am in the air, and that uses up all the extra space that I need. Okay, I'm exaggerating how much space to leave, but That's the notion. Here's another way to approach it. Just slur two of them, separate the other. Now, it creates a bowing issue that I have to solve by slurring the next pair of notes. So that's slurred. Okay, so that's a really useful figure in Scottish country dance style. So it lets me kind of draw out the first note. So it's kind of the opposite of that forward compression with the Cape Breton style. It still takes the same amount of time, just one beat, you know. Or if you're counting in 2 beats per bar, it's a half beat. All right, let's play that and then move on to our next figure. So with the pickup note. Second measure, same pickup note. So it's only the second half of the bar that has changed. All right, let's go to the third bar. Stair steps down from G. Well, not quite, right? Ending bar is still familiar, right? Same ending. So third bar with a pickup. Let's do bars 3 and 4 again. Okay, so far so good? Any questions? We're almost there. Second half of the B part starts exactly the same. So for 4 bars, no, sorry, 2 bars. 2 bars, we're doing the same thing. Okay, so that's all familiar. Let's do it. And the big ending, the big exciting ending is a series of triplets. So the triplets are all little scales. So it's kind of rising scales, but they avoid this one because they didn't want to shift into a high position. So they go back to E and repeat that one. So let's do that series of 4 triplets. Yeah. And we're not quite doing our same ending because we're going with the triplet idea, and it's going to be. For the fact that there's 3 notes in that by slurring the next pair so that I can snap down bow. Much stronger position for that. So that's how the bowings work out for people with bows. Let's do the last 2 bars of this tune, the series of triplets rising from E. Okay, are we ready? Can we put it together? You want to put together the B part first?
Yeah.
The B part. How did the B part start? High B note, right? Again. I'm supposed to do the triplets, right? Yes, I missed my own cue. Okay, let's just do the triplets right now. Right here. Okay, that's what I get for getting distracted midway through a tune. I should never do that, right? Let's play the whole tune. A part, 4 bars that repeat. B part, 8 bars, doesn't repeat. Elke, remember to do the triplets. Okay, I will. several different styles towards the end with a definite 2-beat round of Scottish country dance style and one that was more pulsing 4 and above. How do you like that tune?
Yeah.
Okay,
Good.
thumbs up. Yeah. And people on the chat, you can answer that too if you liked it or not. All right. Well, shall we assume that people would like another one by ear?
Yes.
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 Yes, we would.
Yay. All right. Let's do it. Do you want one in the key of C, or do you want one in the key of D?
You don't get an E minor to go with the E minor stuff.
I'm sorry, there is an E minor reel elsewhere in this year's Fiddle Club, but is not in this month's music. I'm really saddened to report that.
Why don't we do C?
C.
We don't do C.
Yeah,
Good enough,
C is a good choice. Okay. All right. I think I want to give you this one. Well, I don't know. This one's a classic versus the other one, which has sort of like a little bit of a trick to it. You want the one with the trick or the one that's a classic?
Classic.
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 Classic. Okay. This one is one when people get into playing a series of reels in C, which does happen. Trust me, it does happen sometimes. This one often comes up, and then you say, "Oh, what's that tune? I wish I knew it." And then somebody mumbles, "Oh, it's Miss Somebody or something or other," and then you never remember. Well, I did finally remember what it was, and I brought it into my repertoire. So it's Miss Betty Hunter, and I'll play it, and then I want to tell you a little bit about Miss Betty Hunter. Okay, Connie has a comment. Too many squeaky bees in the rover. Well, you know what? My bees weren't that squeaky. No, okay, bees are squeaky. I agree. It's a squeaky high note. But do your best to keep them from getting too squeaky. And I promise there are no squeaky bees in this key of C tune. So let me play it for you. So this tune does come up in Cape Breton. The Athol collection is like one of the big source books for Cape Breton repertoire. I think in Cape Breton they're not into doing sort of these fussy passages that have and that's very Scottish, as opposed to the Cape Breton way, which would probably be, I don't know the Cape Breton version of this tune, but or something like that. It would be more scalar rather than hopping around. So the hop around is more Scottish, and someday I'll come up with a Cape Breton version of this tune and we can compare. But for now, since we're featuring the Athol collection and not Cape Breton versions of Athol collection tunes, we're going to go with the original way of it. All right, key of C. Let's just warm up in the key of C. No flats, no sharps. F is natural. And C is natural. Do you want more? Because the tune doesn't go any higher than that. Yeah, let's go back down. All right, so we start off with just a scale passage with the F pickup note, our highest note in the tune, and run right down the scale and back up to C. So let's just put that together. Let me add to that. So that's a G note there. measures is sort of the tricky bit, because you have to cross strings on a slur. And I like to just get my fingers set up so that they're both on the proper notes on the proper string. I set them up. In fact, once I hit that C, I just leave it there, add the G note, and come right back to the C. Okay, and then the next bit plays off of what we just did with the G to C, and it keeps coming back to that C note with a little change up in the lower note. So we just had, and then we do. Is almost the same. And that's the only difference. Instead of it's landing on the C note. So let's do this third and fourth bars. Start, right?
Yeah.
All right. So the second half of the tune. At this point, we're going to be making use of C arpeggio notes. So let's find the C arpeggio figure of. Well, first let's find the notes: C, E, and G. Now let's put them. Yeah, we don't need that one. Well, maybe we do. Okay, yes, go ahead and play it. I'll let you play it. We will use it. All right. So let's play in this order. And let's add this pickup note. F. tell you how it ends. We have that C note. Sounds kind of like those bell tower chimes or something, doesn't it? So let's put together the entire first measure of the B part with the pickup note. Okay, the next thing that happens is that same arpeggio figure up to that point, and then this ending. F, D, D. So let's put two measures together of the B part. Okay. Any questions so far? So far, so good? All right. Next bit, same start. And here's where it departs because it has to do its fancy, jumpy, Scottishy thing. With the bar that comes before it and the pickup note. Okay, so far so good?
Mhm.
Halfway through the B part. Good news, the next part of the B part we already learned because it's a direct repeat, right? So let's just play bars 5 and 6, same as 1 and 2 of the B part. And the ending is this is the big highlight, the big fancy ending. It's actually easier than the first ending. It's just higher up. So it ends with scale, scale, and ending high. So that new bit is just these scales, C from G. Now that sounds a little off of whack because we did not start at the top of the bar, which was with the arpeggio. So with a pickup note and arpeggio. Scale. Okay, how's that? Ready to put it together? Entire B part?
Sure.
Okay. Big jump. Nice scales. And that's it. That's the B part. A few more times.
Sure.
Yep. Okay. Here we go. Okay, how did this tune start? Right, down the scale. Does that sound familiar? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, except I think it's Argyle Bowling Green.
It's not.
It sure feels like it sometimes.
So Argyle Bowling Green, the tune you just referenced, it's really different.
Oh, what's the one? I'm not thinking about. Where's one that starts similar to this?
There's Mary Lads of Air.
Mary Lads of Air. Oh, I knew it was a book one tune.
But that's a different tune.
I did.
And there's also the Marquis of Queensberry, which actually goes completely different direction,
Right.
but it has that sort of like
It's
a
a- that's
little bit at the
The
beginning
first
where
bar
you're
will
like,
trick you in a
you're
jam.
like, oh, could that be that? And it's not. Okay. So let's keep it straight. All those tunes you just heard,
Forget
forget them. This is Miss Betty Hunter. So I'm gonna slow it down a little bit because you're not ready for this at this pace, I think. Well, some of you might be,
Can
but
you talk just a little bit about the transition?
yeah. So here we are, and then our pickup note of choice for the second part is this low F. So it's actually quite convenient. We're on the C, and we're into arpeggios.
At least if we get the F, we're in the right direction. For the
That's
part.
right.
That's
That's
all
right.
that counts.
And this is a tune where,
Low F.
you know, like sort of the rule of thumb is that you start low and then the second part of the tune is high. That doesn't actually apply to a lot of Scottish tunes, and it certainly doesn't apply to this one. We're mostly working up here, and then in the second half we're going low. So the second half is actually mostly lower, except for that high ending, right? Which is still not any higher than F. Never go above this note in the whole tune. And all right, I'm going to give you the little bit of a side on Miss Betty Hunter, and then we'll play the tune, and that'll be like a little memory test too. So Miss Betty Hunter was one of those 18th century people who has their name attached to more than one tune. And, anybody could get a tune named after them, right? I might write one more for my mail carrier, or my, the person who gave me a plant for Mother's Day, or, whatever. I could write any tune, one person a tune for one occasion. But a person who gets more than one tune named for them, you kind of got to wonder,
Especially if it's different composers.
right, are they a musical person who's sort of like in the music scene and they're important enough that lots of composers want to honor them with a tune? So Miss Betty Hunter is one of those. And so while we don't have a whole lot of biographical details on her, let me play you the other Miss Betty Hunter tune. I played it right this the first time. Okay, so that is a jig in E flat.
Must be Marshall.
So it's not Marshall.
It's not Marshall.
No, it's not Marshall. I'm trying to remember who did write it, and I think it's possibly Robert Petrie, but I might be wrong about that. And it could be just one of those tunes that's out there that somebody obviously wrote it, but I don't have it in my head who. But the fact that I could come up with that tune off the top of my head, I didn't actually look it up. I just was like, oh, when I teach Miss Betty Hunter, I should play that jig. Yeah. It's one of the few really good, really fiddle accessible jigs in the key of E flat. So despite being in this key with lots of flats, it's not actually that ridiculously hard to play. And it sounds good, played on the fiddle. So she's got great tune in E flat, she's got a great tune in C. What instrument does this woman play? That's kind of like my next question. It's like, yeah, so is it a piano? I mean, if it was harp, it's hard to get all those flats, unless she had a harp with lots of pedals, which she could have.
They did have them by then.
Yep, they did have them then.
She could have played an English guitar.
Mm-hmm. She could have played lots of things, but I think she must have been sort of like in that musical scene to get all these tunes written for her, and the fact that they're not just like throwaway tunes, but actually good tunes. Because there are plenty of people who sort of got like the throwaway tunes. It's like, oh, I wrote a little ditty. Okay, there's a tune for you. Thanks for the money. Right? So there were composers who sort of did that kind of thing, where they just kind of like churn out a bunch of tunes.
Or they took a tune they'd already written and already named.
And name it for somebody else and collect another fee, right? A patronage fee. Yeah, not good practices there, right? We do not condone that kind of practice, but it is was widely practiced. Of course, nobody today would do such a thing with such lack of integrity. However, it is possible, I know this myself, to write a tune that already exists and think you wrote a new tune, and even know who you're going to name it for and why, and then discover, oh, that's actually just a sort of corrupted version of this other well-known tune. It's happened to lots of people. And if you're fortunate, you catch it before it gets out there in the wild and goes its own course. So back to Miss Betty Hunter. We're going to play the whole tune. And just to remind you, I'll give you a little roadmap of this tune. It starts with a scale in the key of C down from the note F. And then this bouncing back and forth with the first ending and then a repeat of that with the second ending on C. That repeats. The B part is the arpeggio passage. arpeggio, first ending, right? The second ending is a jumpy one. Then it repeats. And then it's the fancy ending that's not really that fancy and that hard, but it does go up high, and it has scales. So for starters, let's play it a little under that speed so that we can get it all put together. And then once it starts to fall together, let's repeat and crank up the speed slightly. So starting up with a high F pickup note. Okay, well, one thing you can see about that tune is it doesn't have squeaky high B notes in it. So that is Miss Betty Hunter, the reel. And I hope you enjoyed it. Have you had enough ear tunes?
Yes.
Okay.
Somebody had to say it.
Somebody had to say it. Well, let's have.
I don't know, last month somebody said no.
Right.
Tom.
And
Somebody
we did
said
another
no,
one.
and we had to do another one, right?
Yeah.
Right then and there. So it doesn't always happen. Do you all have your sheet music? And
I will take it.
would you like a nice copy with the spiffy book cover and index in it?
I will take one.
Right, yeah,
I'll take
okay.
Okay.
And
Two.
um,
Oh,
and
thank you.
members who are online, the full book, including the index and there's a feature that I am now working into the books, which is this month by month workshop topics and the pages that pertain to that workshop, which I'm now including as part of Fiddle Club books. And as I revise all of the books to be downloadable, those will appear on the website in accessible through the members area. So also I had some requests from members that I met in different places over the last month who asked that we issue a revised cumulative index of Fiddle Club tunes. Okay, we just about had all of the big come
All
down.
right, we're still good.
Watch the trip hazards. That's one thing I'm gonna invest in is a rug.
Well, we have one, but
Mhm. So, anyway, that's a cat. Right, how many cats have appeared on camera in the last 2 years? Probably way more than used to, right? Oh, yes. The cat's getting comments, of course, right? Cat steals the show. What was I even saying? Gosh, I lost my thread. Right, so all of the Fiddle Club tune books are going to be downloadable, and I will make a cumulative index available as a download. I think that we will have an extra fee for that, but it'll be nominal, something small. And so I'll talk to Pete about getting that up online. And what shall we do next? Let's go to page 30, which is the first one of this series, and look at the fife hunt. So the fife hunt, like many of the tunes in the Athol collection. Let's see, did I bring it along? No, I got a marked up version of the Athol collection at home, where I've actually gone through and started finding sources for where James Stewart Robertson got his tunes from, and a lot of them are from William Marshall or the Gows or Simon Fraser. Those are all people and collections of tunes that we've looked at elsewhere in Fiddle Club. So this first tune, Fife Hunt, is by William Gow. In the Athol collection, it's just by anonymous, right? The composer's not given. That's typical for the Athol collection. Most of the time, he gives no composer at all. And many times it's actually possible to identify a composer if it's a tune that's more or less contemporary with him. All right, let me play you the Fife Hunt and who was William Gow? He was one of Neil Gow's sons, and he was one of the sons who Neil Gow was almost like not just a person but a brand. Neil Gow had his sons Nathaniel, William, John, and Andrew, who were all musicians and all composed some tunes, and he sort of farmed out his band opportunities to his sons. So he had John operating out of London, and Nathaniel in Edinburgh, and William in Edinburgh. And then William ended up managing the dance band there, and Nathaniel ended up going to London eventually with John, who was managing both a dance band and a publishing house. And then Nathaniel took over most of the publications and gave us the Gow collections and the Gow repositories. Anyway, so that's all about William Gow, one of Neil Gow's sons. And here's his tune called The Fife Hunt. Fife, of course, is a region of Scotland. We've had the tune The East Nook of Fife, which if you go driving around Fife in Scotland, you'll see a little road sign that says East Nook, that way. And it is in fact in the east. All right, let's try it slowly.
She's here for Amy.
Okay.
Pass on through.
Yes, come on through.
I was actually trying to take her around.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I should have told you to come to the front door.
I should have intuited that.
Okay, right. We're gonna continue since we're streaming live.
Sorry.
You already learned Miss Betty Hunter on page
Special guest
30,
star.
and you already learned the Rover on page 30. So we're gonna move right along to page 31 to McFarlane's Rant.
Especially the.
So here is this tune, McFarlane's Rant, sitting here in the Apple collection of 1884, and it's surrounded by all these other tunes that are presumably contemporary with that time, right? McFarlane's Rant is really old. Let me play it for you and then you can guess how old you think it is. Any thoughts?
I would say maybe 1720, maybe something in the David Young manuscripts. The McFarlane's what's pushing me in that direction.
Mm-hmm. So it is probably from the 1600s.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's found in some of those earliest collections. I've done a lot of work looking at the very earliest printed collections of Scottish fiddle music. They're from 1700, approximately 1710, and they are full of tunes that you can find references to elsewhere. You can certainly find references later because these tunes mostly continue to circulate. But you can find contemporary references and earlier references in mostly manuscript collections. Some of these manuscript collections are lute collections. And the reason why this one, not only does it appear in some of these manuscripts, because I've looked at them and that's how I know this tune is from one of those old manuscripts. So
Which one do you remember?
I'm not sure. I would have to look, but it was known. It was already a known tune around 1710. So, and then there's this figure in it in the B part. So that's perfectly possible to play on a violin, but I think that's a figure that's not originating on a violin. That's the kind of figure that would be more like a lute type of comfortable figure, or a cittern or something like that, because it's easy on one of these plucked instruments to do that kind of strummy and get those notes repeated like that, whereas on the violin it's like this string changey thing that's not that fun. So your fiddle player composer is not going to compose a tune that rocks back and forth like that. If they did, they'd probably do something cooler, like a more fiddle friendly type of thing. So the fact that this is not the most comfortable of fiddle string changes probably means this tune was written on another instrument. And the fact that I know that it's old because of its contemporary sourcing makes me think it's probably a lute or cittern. I have yet to verify that. And it could be a harpy thing. That would also work on harp. But I think of it more as a strummed instrument type of thing. So let's learn McFarlane's Rant. McFarlane's Rant is presented in the Athol collection as a reel. But rants could be either. They could be a strathspey, they could be a reel, and they could be the type of thing where you strathspeyify it. You take a reel and you make it strathspey. So it could be interpreted so there's stuff you could do to strathspey it. We're going to play it as a reel. Let's play it slowly though. Anybody want to play a dancing speed?
I'll try to try.
Okay, there's a little note in the chat about maybe was this played on a psaltery. I would say probably not, because most dance tunes are not easily played on a psaltery.
I have a feeling about this tune.
Those are what?
I have a feeling about this tune.
You think it's a pipe tune, huh?
I think it could be.
Oh, I think it very well could be.
The alternating FD is a little weird. It's perfectly doable. It's just that I don't have a lot of tunes that do that. But it's within the compass of the instrument. I would say probably from the structure of it, it's that old. It's probably a lowland tune, because Highland pipe tunes at this point we're doing more of the 1/7 dual tonics and the.
One of the other things that makes me think it's really old is the fact that it's got the same chord pattern for the A part and the B part, and that both parts are only 4 bars long. That's
old.
Really typical of older tunes.
So this could have been a border pipe tune, small pipe tune.
It could have been. I think we don't have a complete enough record to be able to say for sure. If I ever find, where are some of the, I wasn't particularly tracking this tune because it's not in those. I looked up all of the contemporary versions or preceding versions of tunes that are in the 2 earliest published fiddle tune books of Scottish fiddle tunes, and I looked up everything related to them. This one kept coming up because it was in the same sources, but I didn't track it, so I don't have quite as clear an idea of it. So the psaltery, for those who don't know it, is kind of like this little almost mini hammer dulcimer shaped thing. It's kind of like a triangle with a bunch of strings set out on it, and each of the gaps where the string is pegged is where you bow it. So to change notes, you actually have to lift the bow and bow a different string. So it doesn't lend itself to dance tunes because you'd have to be like, sort of like. You'd have to be like moving the bow in between each change of pitch. And so I actually did a workshop once where there were dulcimer players and bowed psaltery players, and the fiddle tunes just didn't work on the bowed psaltery. But there were older forms of the fiddle, like the rebec, where this kind of tune might have worked just fine.
And the rebec's typically 3 strung, 3 strings, so it would fit the compass of that.
Yeah, the compass of the tune, the range of the tune would suit an instrument like that. So I'm still going to maintain that I think this is quite an old tune, and so anyway, I'm getting comments more on the psaltery. So I'm gonna leave the psaltery aside, and let's just play this tune at a dancing speed. McFarlane's Rand. Okay, so there we go. McFarlane's Rant, a very old tune. We already learned the cuckoo, right? So let's go on to another tune on the page. Movairi Veen Veil Hulicht. And so this is, my Mary, my mighty, the name. Veen is gentle. veil is beguiling. And this hulik can mean either bright or kind of clear-sighted. So again, depending on whether it's got a little accent mark on it, it either refers directly to your eyes, is based on the word sul for eyes. But that's where the bright comes from, as in like sparkling eyes, right? Okay, here's the tune. I do have something to say about this, which is with a title like this, it often means there's a song associated with it. And it might not be sung at dancing tempo, but when you have that many words in the title, it often means that that's somehow worked into the phrase of the tune. Now, it can sometimes fit with the opening phrase, but sometimes it's the end of the phrase. And I didn't quite work it out, and I don't know the actual song. It may have been lost too. Also, the thing that makes it seem like it's perhaps singable is in the B part, where it has in a row a whole bunch of dotted figures, which can easily match up with speech patterns. Okay.
It feels like it's in family with Halls of Cromdale.
Yeah, and Halls of Cromdale does have a Gallic singing version. Well, actually, multiple ones. There's multiple words for Halls of Cromdale, as well as in Scots English. All right, let's play this tune under tempo. these Gallic titles, these adjectives are subject to many different interpretations. And so when you look it up in a more detailed dictionary like Dwelly, especially that, I like that one because it's an old dictionary from the 19th century, and so it has a lot of information about the past in Gaelic-speaking Scotland, sort of stuffed into the definitions. So you can get a whole lot of ideas about what life was like for Gaelic-speaking
And
Scots.
it's going to reflect the uses at the time the tunes were written, as opposed to modern usages.
Right. So modern Gaelic might have a more, more easily defined version of this, but it might not mean the same thing as it meant to contemporaries of the tune. But it does mean with Dwelly's many multitude of definitions, you can kind of almost get metaphorical senses of how it was used, and ironic senses of how it can. You see, sometimes puns. Sometimes the definition is both something and then it's opposite, because if it's used in a sort of a ironic sense or a teasing sense in some other context, and then sometimes the definition is really hard to interpret from Dwelly because of those multitudes of meanings. But I just came up with this because it's sort of like, okay, let's say that these are descriptions of this person, Myri. What's sort of consistent. You can take away a different definition where she's beguiling is interpreted as deceptive, and then the bright eyes is interpreted as the sharp-eyed, and then you get a different picture of what she's like, right? Yeah. So anyway, I went with the gentle, bright, and beguiling. That sounds very positive. But since I never met her, she could have been the sharp-eyed, deceiving one, right?
I suppose it depends on which verses.
Yeah, right. Maybe it started sweet and gentle, and then it got right. Okay, the next tune, Will You Run a While With Me? I think that's kind of self-explanatory, right? Let's hear how this tune goes. So this one has built into it some of what makes it obvious why this tune book, Athol Collection, appeals so much to Cape Bretoners, because Cape Bretoners do not just play reels, sort of like, it's always with these sort of snap figures in them as well. So here it is written in. So the Cape Breton player is probably going to be putting some snaps like that into their reel, just as a matter of course, where they fit in the melody. And here it is documented. So, all right, let's play it slowly to start. faster? Yeah, okay. I'm getting distracted by some of the things that I need to mark down to correct, because there's always something in the music that I have to
I
go
feel like the
fix.
first part, I've heard a song that goes like that, but it may just like it starts the same. I can't place it. It's like
I think there probably is a song to this. Again, with the long title like
Yeah.
that, right? There's probably a Gallic language version of the same, and it just seems like this seems like a very Highland tune to me. This starting in C and then resolving in A minor at the end of the phrase.
They've given us a Scots title, so it may have Scots words. As
It
well,
may
and
have
that one,
Scots words
hence
as
the title.
well, and if it does have Gallic words, they might not be the same.
It might be entirely different.
Right.
It could be talking about burnt bread.
Yeah, it could be launching the boat. I mean, you never know, right? It's not always the same thing. Let's play it a few times through faster, sort of a dancing tempo. 1 and 2. All right, that's Will You Run a While with Me. Now, we only have 3 pages this month, but you just saw I got 4 tunes on 1 page. That's almost like having 2 pages worth of music, isn't it? I like these compact tunes. I even have a workshop that I do on other occasions, not for Fiddle Club, that's called Short and Sweet, where all of the tunes are only 8 bars of music. You get a lot of bang for your buck. Not a lot of learning, lots of mileage, because those tunes can still be played for 32-bar dances. I think that's cool. All right, Sean Ronk Moor, the big old spar. It actually means old spar big if you go with the word order in Gaelic. And again, this is from Dwelly's Gaelic Dictionary. So there's so many translations for what is this ronk. And the one that has the cognate word in English is rung, like the rung of a ladder. So this is just a horizontal piece of wood of some sturdiness. A spar, of course, is like the horizontal part of a boat. You know, the mast is the vertical part, and the spar that holds the sail is a horizontal beam. Now, as soon as I started looking up these definitions, the double entendres started coming into the Dwelly definition. So I am not even going to go there, but you just think of it for yourself, okay, if you want to. Here's the tune. And it doesn't end, right? You've got to keep playing it or switch tunes. Now, the thing with the DS and the little S symbol at the beginning, that's just a musical terminology way of saying, hey, don't play the pickup notes when you repeat this tune. That's all it says. There's nothing more complicated than that. I think this is an interesting tune because the beginning of it is like very singable. And you can imagine there's some kind of song about this big old spar, maybe bringing in some of those alternate meanings that I talked about. And then I imagine this B part, which doesn't sound very singable to me, is like where they go, hey diddle or something like that, right? They just make little vocable syllables, hey diddle dee da da hey diddle da da, something like that.
And it may have been that the original song was a single strain song, and somebody added.
And somebody added this little
and
instrumentalish.
may have even pulled it from another tune.
Right. So, anyway, let's learn this tune.
Right.
Was that a double entendre, Barbara?
Oh my.
Okay, we're not gonna repeat it. Yeah. Okay. So that's the big old spar, Sean, Ronk, More. Sandy or the Lee is the last tune on page 32. This one is also a Scottish country dance title, so presumably this would have been originally the tune for that Scottish country dance. And the funny thing is that the Scottish country dance is done as a strathspey, and this is a reel. And not only that, it's not really a reel that sounds great as a strathspey. So I could try to strathspeyify it, but it wouldn't come across all that well. Let me play it for you as a reel. So this one has 4 parts, but if you look carefully, the second and fourth parts are exactly the same. And the first and third part, the third part is just kind of a little variant on the first part. And there's a lot of reuse.
Second, fourth bars of each.
Yep, second and fourth bars, right? And then the first and third is thematic for whatever part you're in. Right? So this is a tune that's sort of taking all of the recycling tenets of Scottish fiddle music and putting them to use, all in one package. Now the dance is awesome. Connie is writing one of my favorite dances, and mine too. It has this great figure in the end where I hope I'm thinking of the right one. You know what? I'm not going to speak about the figure without looking up. But if it's the one I'm thinking of, it just like smoothly flows from one thing to the next, and it kind of like transforms, and you're like, oh, how did it do that? That was so seamless. And I just like that dance. Okay, let's play the tune a little under tempo. All right, well let's review our ear tunes. Anybody remember the cuckoo? Oh, don't all answer at once there. Sound a little familiar? Vaguely familiar? Yeah.
First 2 notes.
Yeah. All right, let's play it. Cuckoo. All right, the rover. Ready, Hunter? Key of C. All right, well, that is our tour through the Ethel collection by James Stewart Robertson. He mostly was a collector of tunes, but there are probably a dozen or so tunes by him within the collection. Almost 900 tunes, mostly Strathspeys and reels, arranged by key, and it's just one of the great collections. So, excuse me. Thank you for joining us for this workshop. This is our last regular workshop until next season, so we'll take a summer hiatus. We'll probably have some events over the summer, so stay tuned. If we get a chance, we'll try to have something like an outdoor jam or picnic or something of that sort, just for fun. Look for some information about the Virginia Scottish Games. That's Labor Day weekend, and the Fiddle Club expects to be performing there. So, assuming that there's no issue with having a festival outdoors at that time, in the future, we can expect to have a Fiddle Club performance, and look for sets of music that will come along sometime in the middle of the summer. So if you need downloads of music, please go to the members section. All of the back months will be available. Also, in not too long, there will be a complete Book 29 available for download.
And if you're not yet a member, it's not too late to sign up in the Webstore section of the Fiddle Club website.
Why, yes, what a great announcement. And it's never too late, because no matter when you sign up, you get the full book of tunes, and you get access to that year's workshops on YouTube. So you can find it worth your while at any time. If anybody's having trouble printing it, or if you just simply would like a paper copy mailed to you, send a message to us at info@pvsfc.
Potomac Valley Scottish
Oh, sorry, info@potomacvalleyscottishfiddle.org.
And we will be making an announcement regarding the opt-in for getting your music mailed to you. We had one earlier this year, and we had a couple people sign up for that. And that will be going up on the website within the next month or so, I guess. We'll be updating that Google form and allowing you to request. And I think there's a last date by, I forget what it was. It's maybe like June 15th or something.
Right. So if paper copies are the best way for you, just let us know. We can mail them to you. And otherwise, you can find everything in downloadables in the members section. One more thing that I'll say is that there are some new items available at the Webstore, namely that Liz Donaldson has done a revised version of the famous Pink Book of fiddle tunes. So if you're interested in a new, up-to-date version of the Pink Book, it's now available through the Webstore. It's the same link with just order the Pink Book. And meanwhile, there's all the other books and CDs and Fiddle Club t-shirts and other things that you can get at the Fiddle Club Webstore. So check it out.
And you can still order stuff from the Cafe Press store, which is linked at the Fiddle Club website. Not that anyone's done that in like 10 years, but there's still Cafe Press stuff up there. That store is still available.
I actually have my Cafe Press Fiddle Club tote bags.
Yep.
And I use them all the time. So, I recommend some of that stuff. And It's been a pleasure being your workshop host this time. Join us for the Zoom Jam. The link is in your email you received from your member mailing earlier today. And join us for the Zoom Jam at 6:30.